Alright, back in the garage. I kind of made the rough marks, dots, where I wanted to make the lines and cut it inside. I'm going to go ahead and finish tracing out where I'm going to have that outlet on this very first panel, and I'll cut it out. We'll go back in, we'll try it again, see how it fits. So, follow along. This is the point where I would normally cut. I don't want to have to do it twice. This is kind of a pain to do. Not too bad, but I don't want to have to recut the whole panel again. I'm going to take some measurements, make sure I'm on. You have to remember to add the inch that you're going to round. So the hole is going to be actually pretty big around the outlet, but it'll get filled in by the trim that I'm going to put in there to hide the wood edges, or the metal edges with wood. So here we go. I'm going to check my measurements, then go ahead and cut it. I know that it's about 3 inches plus the trim is going to be 5, and I know 1 inch off the top of the outlet was 7. There's only about 1 inch underneath the outlet, and so I'm going to cut the metal all the way down to the stone backsplash that's there now, because the wood will be there on the bottom to match, so it goes all the way around. So that makes it convenient. Most of the outlets are like right there. It gives you 1 inch gap to put the wood underneath them. So I won't be having to cut a hole in the metal. I can just notch the whole thing out to the bottom. As I'm going along, I'm going to add a safety equipment. This is getting pretty loud, the metal resonating ears. I'm going to find some ear protection. I'll be back in a sec. Alright, don't know if you caught all that. I cut my notch here. I trimmed the top because it was binding a little bit. Actually, I tried to take a blade width off of it, and that blade's thin, only like 1/16 of an inch. And I did pretty good, but not as nice as it would have just been to have cut it right to begin with. So, note to self, in the future, I'm going to try to make sure I get the height closer. So I don't have to do that trimming. Getting it exact to begin with is going to have an advantage. So let's go back inside, put it in place, we'll all look. I think we're good. Okay, here we go. We're going to put it in place. There's burrs, I've mentioned before, I'm being careful. Thinking as I come in, I'm going to find a file and to knock all the burrs off when I've got the piece fitted how I want it. Wipe it down, put some clear coat on it. I'm actually going to do that on the first piece and put it in here just to make sure I'm happy with the whole project before I do the whole thing and I'm not happy with it. Waste my time. So let's see how it looks, see how it fits. Okay, so I did a fairly good job. You look across the top, it's pretty even off of this black piece that the hood is made out of. The factory edges along the bottom, that looks nice and clean. Looking at the gaps around the outlet here, I could potentially have to grind some of this down to get it fit right. I don't think I left enough room I think that the wood maybe doesn't have enough in there if I'm going to do an inch. I want to leave maybe a 1/16 around the sheetrock showing around the outlet, so I don't have a problem getting that cover off. So I'm actually going to grab my tape measure and just look at it. I might need to trim that back just from look. It's almost 1 inch right now, so I think I need a 1/16, like a saw blade width all the way around that. I'll learn as I go in the future. I would rather have it too small and trim it later, or trim it again to get it to fit just right, than have it too big to begin with and have a big gap there that might look funny. So let's get you closer. You can see what I'm talking about. So here is only about 1 inch from the edge of the metal to the edge of the outlet, and all the way around. So I'm just going to put the trim all the way around here, paint it black. It'll be the thickness, even if the metal was right on the rib lined up where I cut it. That's about 1 inch off the wall. If I have an inch thick of wood, which is about the same as the current Backsplash there, then I think it'll look good, it'll fit good. It'll be black, kind of match the hood, range top, whatever you call it. So let's do that. I don't think I've mentioned, but there's several ways that you could attach it. Several ways we could attach it to the wall. I was thinking about maybe just construction adhesive, lining the ribs that touch the wall, sticking it to the wall. If at some point you want to change, do something different, I think it would make a mess. You'd pull it off, it'd take all the paint, sheetrock, everything with it. I think what I'm going to do is just mark where all the studs are on the wall, being careful to hit the stud exactly. Of course, there's electricity, lines, stuff going through the walls. And then I think I'm going to use sheetrock screws. They're black. I think that it would actually look good, especially with the black trim. And it's not going to take a lot. You just have enough screws to hold it against the wall so it's not moved, so it's tight. That's the way we're going to go on this one. So, and then if I want to take it off, all it leaves is these little holes that you could putty paint, and you're back to square one. So that's how I'll do it. You'll see later on. I think that maybe I'm going to call it a night, and we'll pick it up again tomorrow. Alright, it's another day, and I'm going to start working on the Backsplash again. I haven't touched it pretty much since I sat in the middle here last night. I'm going to go out and finish profiling around the outlet. Yes, I'm wearing the same shirt. No, I haven't been wearing it since last night. I put it on just for this project. It's special. Okay, let's do this. I kind of messed around with it last night a little bit, and I know kind of where I need to trim. I'm just going to remind myself, take a quick look with the tape measure here, go out and just basically touch up a couple of the sides to bring it perfectly straight, and where I'm comfortable I can get the outlet cover off. So it's hard for me to know exactly what type of gap to give me. I don't want to see a lot of sheetrock around the trim that I put around the outlet, but I also don't want it to be so tight I'm struggling. So it's gonna be trial and error. Let's go out in the garage, trim it up a little bit. Then I'm gonna come back in and mark where the studs are so I can actually just kind of know where to tack it into place. I might just go down the wall a little bit and mark all the studs. So I just know from experience, from doing it, and I take it for granted some people don't know, so I'll tell you, when you have an outlet like this, the box that holds electrical wires, components, is attached to a stud. So I know on one side or the other side there's going to be a stud, and I can just start from there looking. I just got a regular old beeping, laser digital, whatever, stud finder, and it really should be 16 inches on center down the wall. That's what they do here. I don't know about elsewhere in the world, but I'll find the stud on which side of the outlet the stud's on. I'll kind of guess 16 inches going along, and I should be able to just consistently mark 16 inches down. I'm just going to put a piece of tape on the top of this stone Backsplash, and then I kind of know where the studs are. So when I put the panels up, I'm actually just going to eye it just stay straight up, but I don't have a tall distance here. I'll get close enough that I know I'll hit a stud. Yep. Studs are 1.5 inches wide. I can just make a little mark on my tape, about 1.5 inches. That's good. That one's gonna be an easy one. Right here is about the next one. Alright, next step, I think I'm going to go out, try wiping down the piece. I'm pretty sure the metal piece is good. I haven't brought it back in to double check, but it was close enough when I measured it in here before I went out and touched it up a little bit that I'm sure I'll be good with putting the trim around there. If not, it looks like I'll be cutting the trim down a little bit to make it look right, but I think we're good. So what I'm going to do is go out. I think I'm just going to take, a lot of times I like to clean stuff with brake cleaner, but I'm afraid it's going to take too much of the rust color look off that I'm looking for. I think I'm just going to wipe it down really good with the rag, and everything that's loose will come off, and then I'm going to clear coat it. We'll see how it turns out. Maybe a few years down the road, the paint will come off, clear coat will come off, and anyway. But this is life, trial and error. Alright. Wife's dish scrubber. Sharp edge metal flying around, that's always great. I was about to start painting with the clear coat, and I thought, well, what am I going to do next after the painting? I don't want to wait for it to dry before I cut my next piece, because I want this one in place to measure my next piece. Because I could put the other one up here without this one here and make marks, but I don't think I'd get where they overlap just perfectly. So I'm actually going to put this one in place and put the other one in there and kind of let it center itself right here in this corrugation to mark where I want the other one cut, and then I'll go paint this while I work and cut on the other one. It can be drying. And the best way I kind of thought about doing it is to take the scrap piece I took off of this. I think it'll work pretty good as far as putting everything in place and kind of getting it where I want it, and then I can take a measurement from the edge of this one over so I know how to mark the next panel. So I'll just make sure this one's where I'm going to put it. That one's where I'm going to put it. Doesn't really need to move. And I'm going to get a piece of paper rather than trying to memorize this. Alright, just threw some clear coat on it. As you can tell, yes, I am the type of guy that props it up against the fence on the garbage can to give me a nice platform to paint from, and anyway. And I'm sure a lot of you have plenty of pointers on my painting technique, You're supposed to go off the metal, on the metal, certain distance, it's okay. I think it'll be alright. I have spent a lot of time in my life with a spray can in my hand and with these little projects, and I tend to get rushed on things. I want to get done. I'm a accomplishment type of guy, I guess, and so I tend to overkill it. I want to get the thickest coat of paint on there, just do it once, and so I'm trying to calm it down a little bit and do it right as far as I'm going to go back, put a second coat on there. The first one was light enough, there wasn't any runs, so we're doing good. I'm going to lay out the second panel, and we'll go from there. I have found that measuring off the edge on one side, I can actually don't need to measure the other side because the corrugation holds it straight, so it's not going to, the line by line is not going to be off. So I actually only need to measure one. It makes this convenient.